So kicking off with some Magic today. So my plans for non-open, non-release weekend streams is to do one Magic deck, one Runeterra deck, and then a variety segment. So we're going to do some Historic to start. We're going to play some Easy Targan and Runeterra, and then we're going to play some Baba Is You today for the variety segment. Was a puzzle game that one of the subs had submitted. Panda, thanks for the 3 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So without further ado, let's dive into our historic deck for the day. So Feather redeemed here. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your grave as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So we combined Feather along with other threats like Dorat and 10th District Legionnaire and new AKR edition Soul-Scar Mage that like you casting spells. And then we have things like Fight as One, Defiant Strike, God's Willing, and Reckless Rage to get value out of all of these cards. This deck has a small blue splash for Dorat and Opt. I really like Opt as a cantrip in this archetype. The Feather archetype as a whole has a lot of what I refer to as wrong half problem, where like you have too many threats and not enough combat tricks, or you have too many combat tricks and not enough threats, and like Opt is kind of a little bit of both depending on which one you need at the time. So Opt can help you dig for threats when you need a threat, or dig for tricks when you need a trick. We also get cards like Disdainful Stroke and Veto out of the sideboard for our blue splash. And then one thing we're trying today is we got a couple copies of Lurrus, the Dream Den here. This was good the last time we played this archetype without blue, and I'm excited to see it again here today. So let's go ahead and jump on into some games here with this. Since the Field of the Dead ban in Historic, aggressive decks, control decks, and ramp decks, I think are the three kind of like headlining archetypes in the format. And while Jeskai Feather's a little bit interactive, it's definitely got an aggressive slant to it. So I think this is probably still a pretty reasonable deck overall. This is a mulligan. Double tapped land really sucks, and we're missing a color. Yeah. Seeing the power of the Triome here. I don't know what the opponent's playing. I think I'm keeping one of each threat here. Yeah, I didn't know Dark Raider. The description of that word on Urban Dictionary is not what the way a lot of people use it. Language evolves. That's got to go, right? It feels a little bit bad to not get to save this to pair with Feather, but I think we got to just get that right out of the way. And this is the tough part, right? Like these sacrifice decks are just really tough matchups for these creature decks, especially if they're playing Claim the Firstborn. Opponent missing the opportunity to make a food there. Both Claim and Priest are incredibly tough cards for creature decks like ours to deal with. We do have God's Willing, and we have some removal for this, but I definitely think we're behind on average in these matchups. Blood Artist with the cat loop, pretty good. Every cat loop does 2 now. Difficult to race here. Impossible to race. I just don't even have attacks here. So I get to attack for 3 right now, but I'm losing 2 life every turn and they're gaining 2 life, so definitely not a good position for us to be in. They're like a collected company away from putting us in a garbage can and throwing us away. And back. Thanks for the 20 months. Welcome back. And then Trail of Crumbs here. So a trail probably means they're not a collected company deck. Some people are super greedy and will play something like this alongside collected company, but at the very least, this means they're going to bury us in cards now. This is going to rapidly accelerate their ability to find Mayhem Devil, which is going to end the game super fast. We're just going to flood out here a little bit, it looks like. That's how Magic goes. Sometimes you just flood out and die. Just continue swimming upstream. So, Boss Citadel activates, and then Blood Artist triggers kill us. He'll stop our opponent from having to put that trigger on the stack. Indestructible is not super useful here. Protection, God's Willing is, stops Claim the Firstborn. Flame Sweep is reasonable. Matchup seems rough. That wasn't particularly competitive for our deck. Yeah, claim the Firstborn has to use that buzzword. It's pretty polarizing against the creature decks. I think decks that are leveraging Claim the Firstborn tend to have pretty incredibly favored matchups against decks that are playing small creatures because it's just such a big swing. What you said there is accurate. Decks that are leveraging Claim the Firstborn generally mean they're using it as a removal spell that also generates additional value, usually an attack plus like food or a way to feed their Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Maybe you're in a spot where you can't press X. I don't know, bud. Try the other buttons. Maybe it's a different button you forgot. So I think I'm just playing the other Doriat here before I start using my spells. I want to get maximum amount of +1/+1 counters on these things. Sounds good, Foss. That'll get bumped after after I'm done streaming today. Thanks for watching. So we're playing Jeskai Gates, but we have all of our colors and our spells are good, so I think we keep this. We'll lead on the Clifftop Retreat, so if we draw Soul-Scar Mage onto, or like a Hallowed Fountain, we can play this. Downside is if we draw Opt onto, we're unable to cast it. We have more things that encourage us to play Clifftop on one, though, so I definitely think that's the correct play. He's dying because the boss. Alright, chat, I need your help. What button do you press in Mario Odyssey to get Cappy off of Mario's head? Anybody know? It's been a hot second since I've played. Somebody in this Twitch chat. There are 264 people in this chat right now. How do we get Cappy off of Mario's head? Is it Y? Chat says Y, Declan. Chat, there's no Z button on the Switch controller. Don't confuse the child. The power button. Gosh, that's rude. Yeah, they're trying to do... I assume they're going to have some kind of protection spell here. They could have a Reckless Rage of their own. So put it in two-player mode, dude. That's not nice. Do not say stinking. Hit the plus button on Jacob's controller. I might have to poke out there and help them. We're super dead here anyways, right? Probably dead. Did you figure it out? Yeah, I think they were in single player mode was their issue. Scale of 1 to dead. What are we working with here, opponent? Just cast a Reckless Rage Strike, concede. So, I think I want the Abrades. I think I want the Lurrus. I'm going to trim the ups. Okay, I'm going to come help you. I'll be right back, chat. All right. Sorry for the door slamming. I have my window open, which causes the door to pull shut. Look at that. Lands that come into play tapped on all of our colors. That's exciting. Okay, and then we drew another threat, so definitely just jamming this to start. I think we probably play Feather on 4 so we can have protection up. Yeah, definitely. Opponent notably missing second white at the moment, so that's nice. Oh, I don't think I updated the deck list this morning. Nah, it's definitely wrong. Hey, should be great. So, you'll note there that I put a stop during my opponent's second main phase. The reason for this is I want to Defiant Strike before we get to their end step, so that way at their end step my Defiant Strike comes back to my hand. So their things still get bigger. Their Reckless Rage is countered, though. Or more specifically, doesn't kill my thing. The day and night deck was great. It was the Runeterra deck of the day. If you're newer to the content, every single day when I do multiple decks, I always try to tag one from each game as a favorite for the day. And yesterday, day and night was the favorite for the Runeterra segment. I'm supposed to hold this back on defense rather than attacking here. It's possible we just get rolled over if they have a bunch of pump spells, right? Hey, thanks for the 52 months, Aaron. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Yeah, so I think with Lurrus here and this to recast, I think I might just play defense for a turn or two here. 52 months, so I've got like 8 months, 2/3 of a year to figure out a 60-month sub badge. Mourn in silence. It says you're currently still subbed, Innuendo. So I don't know if it's hasn't fallen off yet or what the 54, 55. Alright, so I got like half a year. The old concede to the gods will like you do was in my hand. Got it. Yeah, two pretty convincing games so far. They ran me down. I ran them down. I think I'm supposed to keep this and hope to draw protection spells, Reckless Rages, he says, as he draws Reckless Rage. Yeah, it'll be my first time playing, Jake. So, they're more expensive than deck submissions, but I'm doing 1 to 2 variety segments most weekends now. And viewers can submit those for $50 plus the cost of whatever the game is you'd like to submit. So obviously if I have a game already, there's no extra on top of that. We've got a few things in the variety queue. I've got Baba today, and then next weekend we're going to play Bad Rats and Morrowind. And Morrowind's a game I spent a lot of time playing as a child, so I'm looking forward to dipping back into that one. What is Baba Is You? It's a puzzle game, I believe. I've been led to believe. The person that submitted it said explicitly I would enjoy it more if I didn't look up gameplay of it ahead of time, so I assume it's a puzzle game. Hey chat, remember when I said the first 2 games weren't particularly close? I am planning to play Morrowind. So I spent some time doing Google searches on Morrowind mods that have been added in the last however many months. So I've got a couple of mods set up, but mostly vanilla. So I have Feather here, but I think I'm supposed to just kill their board this turn. So like I'm losing my Reckless Rage, but like I've got Defiant Strike and stuff. I think it's correct to just like kill their board here. Yeah, I've heard that feedback before. I've heard if you enjoy programming that Baba's a good puzzle game. Yeah, I'm told Bad Rats is a meme submission, and the person that submitted it said I don't have to do the normal 1.5 to 2 hours that I do. So I've got a half. I only have that one scheduled for half an hour. Okay. So, the reason why I'm sequencing like this is because the way Dreadhorde Arcanist interacts with Feather is when Dreadhorde flashes this spell back, it comes back to my hand. So we're hoping to fade another copy of Reckless Rage here, which it looks like they don't have it because they would have done it before I recast this. We are flooding here quite a bit, so if the opponent has a way to kill Feather, we could still have a competitive game. Pretty sure I'm supposed to block here. I guess Shock punishes me. They showed us Shock last game. If I'm expecting shock... No, I can't block anything if I'm expecting shock, right? So if they shock my face, I go to 3, which I think is fine. I need to draw 3 cards next turn, hopefully find a Reckless Rage. Yep. Reckless Rage. Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless Rage. Do 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 do. Hey, thanks for the very generous tier 3 extras. I appreciate the 29 months. Welcome back. For folks that like to keep up with the Hooglandia happenings, I posted my schedule for the next week on Twitter this morning. I'm going to do a pretty even split of Historic and Runeterra for the next week. Planning to do 1 to 2 decks of each game per day. GG. It just wasn't, like, we won, but, like, it wasn't super compelling gameplay, right? Like those games were, like, 3 for 3, someone just got savaged. Was it worth it to leave myself dead to God's Willing? Can you explain how I don't leave myself dead to God's Willing? Oh, I hold the Reckless Rage. Okay, sure. So I shouldn't kill their thing in advance because they have no cards in hand. Yeah, that's a good observation. Oh, this hand's great. Sorry, I was tweeting. Alright, so we need a Reckless Rage ASAP. Another creature deck. We're gonna start with Dreadhorde Arcanist here, so this way if we draw a Reckless Rage or a other piece of 1 mana thing next turn, we can go Legionnaire plus that. There it is. Good morning, Jerry. How much would you need to donate to get spirits played tomorrow? DM me on Discord, Comic Cry, and I can give you a number after the stream's done. Because, like, you can look at the deck queue right now, but I won't, like, do other bumps and stuff until the end of the stream today. And we're probably dead again, right? I plan to do 2 magic decks tomorrow morning. Yes, Fox, check other. I'm gonna make a note to update the forum to more clearly support that and update my website. Update website/forum for variety games information. Thanks for the reminder. We might limp across the finish line in this game on the back of God's willing. Maybe. She is great, Beansy. Alright, I lied when I said the God's willing might let us survive. I was a liar. Sounds good, Fox. I might have taken other off. Yeah, I need to overhaul it altogether. Okay, just pick whatever. Need to formalize that. This is another matchup where this one's okay for blocking, I guess. I'm gonna trim Dreadhorde Arcanist, I think. I've got 19 threats. I think going down to 16 threats is fine. This is a little bit hard to attack with consistently in this matchup because they tend to gum the board up a lot. And then I usually trim 2 ops as filler. Yeah, like that, just bringing in more removal on the extra God's willing. Yeah, the opponent's draw is just okay. It's just like the fact that we didn't interact at all. The opponent's archetype is super reasonable. Oh, you know what? I'm probably supposed to lead on Steam Vents here, huh? So I could go tap Sacred Foundry into Opt. Yeah, that's a mistake. Let's just draw like a Soul-Scar Mage to make up for it, huh? This is close, because just like, I kind of just want anything that I can pair with Feather. I think just like any spell to pair with Feather is like worthwhile here. I think it's worth attacking them for 2 to take 1 on the backswing here, because keeping their life total low is important for a couple of their life gain payoff cards. So this is one of their payoffs that I was talking about there, so ideally want to keep them under 27. I don't think I can afford to play around a removal spell here. I just need blockers in play. So if they have like a Baffling End or a Conclave Tribunal here, we just get got, but I think we're in the business of making them have it. I'm going to stop on my upkeep here, and we'll scry before I draw to try and increase the average quality of my draw. They at least don't have good attacks this turn. Oh, man, get wrecked. Alright, so I need a Reckless Rage last turn, ideally. I think that's good enough to keep. Maybe. I don't know. Am I dead? I'm not quite dead, but we're getting close. You're gonna be able to start triggering Speaker of the Heavens here. Yeah, Shepit Dune's a solid add to mono white. That's okay. Sometimes the life gain, like the losing life on this can be like a pretty real downside is an issue. Okay, so... I'm pretty sure, so this is 4, 11... I unfortunately here cannot kill both... I can't kill Speaker and Sarah, because then I die. I can kill this, though. So I kill these two. I take 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and go to 2. I think that's the play. Oh. Right. I'm going to take one more here. I'm going to go to 1, so we're probably dead. Okay, so I have 2 copies of Flame Sweep in my deck. And I think unfortunately this is a situation that Reckless Rage doesn't get us out of, huh? Reckless Rage lets me kill 2 things, and then I can block these with Fight as 1, and then we die to those. So I've talked a little bit on stream about it. I've tweeted it a couple of times. Hi, it's Jace. Thanks for the 22 months. Welcome back. I live in a college town, so Illinois State University is like within spitting distance of my house, and they have college students that came back to the dorms. And I think that was about 2 weeks ago now. And my county just hit a 10% COVID positivity rate on testing on the 7-day rolling average. And the university for the last 7 days has a 22.5% positivity rate on their COVID testing. So if they don't send home students soon, it's gonna get real bad real quick. It's not so that's the wrong response, Hadoken, and you might just be joking, but this is in no way, shape, or form the college students' fault. It is the university's fault for bringing the college students back to the dorms, many of whom are only taking online classes. You can't be hygienic in a dorm. Like or people that haven't experienced the average college dorm, it's just not an option. Yeah, dorms are unsafe for a pandemic. Yeah, blaming the students instead of blaming the organization that's pressured by capitalism to bring the students back for profit is wrong. The students are victims. You're stuck on Jacob's head. Did you take off 2-player mode? I don't know, dude. Oh, I probably should have done this at upkeep. It's fine. Feather. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Regazoo, thanks for the 20 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. What's the protocol in the U.S. for someone who tests positive? you think we have a protocol that's enforced? There's a recommended 2 weeks quarantine, like recommended, but it's not enforced or regulated by any type of agency or persons. And you got to remember, the United States doesn't have paid sick leave for anything. So there's definitely people who get presented with the lovely choice of you know you have COVID, but you need to go to work because your choice is go to work while you know you have COVID or starve. I'm supposed to block and just burn one of these since I have 2 of them there, so I don't draw cards. Yeah, the capitalistic healthcare system in the United States was not created to work well during a pandemic. Yeah, it's gonna be really brutal when evictions start catching up once all those anti-eviction orders expire, and then people can't pay backlogs of rent. So there are unemployment benefit systems in the United States, but they largely so those were temporarily extended. So the reason why things haven't gotten bad yet is because they extended unemployment benefits for a while in the United States, but those extended benefits of the federal government have since lapsed. So we're gonna start catching up to that here soon too, where people who are unemployed but still getting enough to be able to live that's no longer going to be the case for many people. I agree, Niv. If I was Canadian, I would run on a platform of building a wall between Canada and the United States and make the United States pay for it. I definitely think Canada should put up a wall and send to the US the bill. That's just the politically savvy thing to do. Alright, I'm bringing in a couple of Abrades. I'm going to bring in my extra Godswing. I'm going to click submit as, so many, these matchups have really not felt competitive so far today. We've just been getting slapped around. So they stop people from being evicted, but still allowed their rent to build up. And what are they expecting to happen at the end of this? Yeah. Yeah. Anybody that thinks the U.S. is currently past the worst of it for the pandemic is going to be in for a rude awakening this winter. Especially when you start mixing in all of the COVID cases with, like, normal seasonal flu and stuff like that goes into the hospital systems. This hand is missing a blue source, but double feather, rage, fight is one. Pretty sure we keep this. Yeah, me too, Microbub. Heard good things about that one. Bartman, thanks for the 2/3 of the year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. One of your finest blue sources, please. Nailed it. Never didn't have it. Pengu Power, thank you for the 53 months. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. When does Baba Is You start? About 2 o'clock. If you're someone that's not interested in Runeterra, sad panda, but you're interested in the variety segments, there is an other games notify role you can join in Discord. So just like I tag people in Discord when I go live with Arena and Runeterra, you can do that for the variety segments. Yeah, and even then it's hard to say, Captain, because there's going to be a lot of people that refuse a vaccine. Like, a lot of people. What's our best draw here? Probably Soul-Scar Mage is our best draw. The vaccine has microchips so they can track us. I read about it on Facebook on my iPhone. Yeah, that's the weirdest trend. Like, the people who are worried about, like, the government wants to chip them so they can track them while they carry their cell phone everywhere is just, like, so strange to me. It's like, y'all really need some help for your stupid. All right, we've got Reckless Rage going here, and we've got Feather set up. So, like, if we can't win this game, this matchup's probably just unwinnable. Yes, a cell phone we pay for the privilege of giving up our data is a great, great summary. Yeah, that's another strange one. Like, heard people who genuinely think that COVID has been faked to make Trump look bad, and when pressed on the topic, they genuinely believe every other country in the world is in on it just to make Trump look bad. Because that's the logical conclusion to them under Trumpism, is that it can't possibly be that he's messed up, it's that every other country is out to get him. I'm bottoming Opt here because I'm going to get some more Scries in before this is done. There's no reason to keep that for now. All right, go ahead and get in and attack with these two. Oh, I should play around Arcane Flight. That's a good suggestion. I think the day-night archetype is a lot more fun, Hamblin. I think it has more play and decision making to it. The Lulu deck's like linear aggro and Runeterra has a little bit more play to it than linear aggro in Magic, but it's still pretty linear. No, Sticky, they have plenty more enchantments to put on. They can play Lurrus to bring back Selfless Savior. When the windows open, Jacob, the air pulls the door shut. Close the door behind you, please. Alright, do they sacrifice the Life's Bounty to smack me for 12? Nope. And, like, this has lifelink, so, like, they're still just gaining a bunch of life each turn, so, like, my 9/9 isn't even making inroads. Okay. We're not just dead yet. If I find a God's Willing, we could be okay. This one seems tough, has, like, kind of been the descriptor of every matchup we've played today. I think our only win so far has been the mirror match. I'm gonna try one more, see if we can find a decent match. This is exciting. So, MTG Melee is launching a deck list page, which is sweet. That's going to be probably a really, really great source for lots of really detailed information. I've wanted a site with better data than Goldfish for a long time, because Goldfish pulls a lot of their info from MTGO leagues, which are super biased. Yeah, like a real deck list page that doesn't have a bunch of artificially diverse numbers pulled into it. Sounds great. Hey, we found someone playing Amori Mutate, so we might have a shot, champ. Alka, thanks for 3/4 of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Trying to say my Amari Mutate list is not S tier. I am in fact. That is exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying they're probably a creature deck without a lot of removal, so they should hopefully be an okay matchup for us. Although, Spacious Sterix can be a little scary. Depends on what S stands for, really. Oh, maybe their deck is playable. They're playing Uro. If they put Uro in their deck might be busted. New Dark Ages, thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Oglandia. Thanks for keeping me around. I would love a red source for this Reckless Rage. Gotta get this Sterix out of here. No, they didn't have enough mana. Someone asking if they misclicked on the Sterix. They didn't have enough mana to mutate the Sterix. I should have waited to Reckless Rage this and attacked first. I think if they trade, that's good for me. I think them trading's a net positive. They need this to win. Yeah, that's fair. They know it's coming back. I don't know. I think they're kind of screwed regardless. Probably doesn't matter. Alright, so Disdainful Stroke seems good against the Auspicious Sterix deck. They probably have a lot of big monsters, so Dreadhorde's probably not great for attacking in. Do I want Abrade to kill baby Godzillas? Do I want Abrade to kill baby Godzillas? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to bring in the Strokes. Your cat likes my voice. I try. Are we supposed to hold Opt for after Dorat? I don't think so. Unless we draw Soul-Scar Mage, I'm going to opt on one. Yeah, the guy, I just want to try and hit my land drops here. A threat. Let's try and draw some lands, huh? Perfect. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see extras. I'm going to try very hard in the fall to make Mutate work, so if it's workable, we're gonna attempt it. So here's the question: am I supposed to play Feather, or am I supposed to hold up Disdainful Stroke here? I think I'm supposed to just hold up Stroke. The problem is I'm like kind of just losing the race to their 3/4. Hey, thanks for the 1.5 years, Scholar. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Yeah, I think I do my best to try and educate people. Now, like, the worst possible play for us this turn is if they didn't play something we could stroke and, like, just put this in their hand. You keep hearing a beep like a smoke detector low battery. I feel like if that was a thing, someone would have mentioned it by now. I don't hear anything in my house. Do you have a smoke detector with a low battery? Well, we had the weirdest thing. But smoke detectors on 2 of my floors, like, went off at, like, 6 a.m. this morning at the same time. Which give me a quality freak out. Double checked all the appliances that could be emitting carbon monoxide, but they didn't go off again, and we opened some windows, and it seems okay. Probably just supposed to kill this, huh? Well, so, like, all the smoke detectors in my house are connected. This is lethal, actually, right? So, like, they went off on different floors simultaneously, so I don't think it was battery related. I almost feel bad. Definitely feel like a bit of a bully there. Definitely ghosts. I guess we'll see if it happens again. Morning lyrics. By the way, as just a plug for our upcoming events, in about 3 weeks, if you're interested in experiencing new Standard in Hooglandia, we're going to have our next Open Series event. The Standard will be returning to the Hooglandia Opens with rotation. Has SCG responded to my tweet? They have not. I wouldn't be surprised if they just ignore it. Having a standard tournament right after rotation, don't you want to do modern or something, right? Nope, not even a little. Well then. God bless scrying, I suppose. So they're gonna get to diddle both my creatures here. Wow, kind of surprised me that they're attacking. We're digging for God's Willing or Reckless Rage here. Yeah, I'm doing all right, Griffinson. Hey, Dude Light, thanks for the tip. For Mistwraith deck, sounds good. So we'll get these back at end of turn, and then I think we're going to use them during the upkeep to scry some more. Just again, like looking for those key instants and sorceries. How many lands to the bottom are we at this point? Four bad cards in a row. Sounds good, dude. I feel like there has to be something reasonable around the Mistwraith archetype in Runeterra at this point. Letting me draw is definitely a mistake on their part. They gave me an extra chance to pick up, a God's Willing there. So opponent currently has 6, 7, 8, 9 power in play. So if I attack with Feather, I lose to another Lord. Probably means attacking is wrong. Maybe I'm supposed to attack and then, like, play the other Feather out of my hand as a blocker. So they can diddle, Feather, and attack me with 3 things, but that's not very profitable because then they die on the backswing. Opponent's company should have been more collected. Had they hit 2 creatures off of it, they would have won the game. So again, putting a stop on their second main, so that way I can sit here and cast these and get them back at their end of turn. Okay, I think I'm in for Defiant Strike. So they're gonna tap both my creatures here, so I need to draw Reckless Rage with this Defiant Strike. If we find Reckless Rage, we could be in an okay spot. Really seeing some of the power Shacklegeist here. Casting these Spitus ones before I Defiant Strike to give myself the maximum number of looks. Each of these Spitus ones gives me a scry. Okay, I get 2 more shots with this Defiant Strike. Man, it is really just not our day for playing this deck. Yeah, we looked at like over a third of our deck. Sometimes you just don't find your 4 of. Think I want God's Willing. Think I want the Abrade switch from a fight as 1 and 2 ups. What SCG tweet? I told SCG, or I tweeted at SCG, I didn't have the bandwidth to fit their qualifiers into my normal schedule. So I told them if they give me an invite to their first historic event, I will stream their event and donate whatever money I win to St. Jude. Gotta shoot your shot, chat. Lord knows I ain't getting anything from Wizard of the Coast, but I've got some history with SCG. I'm not supposed to go to 5. No, I haven't had any response. If you're not throwing away your shot, should I call you Hamilton? Sure. I don't know about young, but I could definitely be described as scrappy and hungry. I'm closer to 30 than I am to 29, thank you very much. Rabble, rabble, rabble. Alright, I'm gonna try one more time. I almost have all the optimism beaten out of me, though. It's been a really rough set. Just like, even the games we won have been mostly non-games. Just like, some of the time when our deck has worked, we've just gotten run down against other linear decks. It's been a rough set. Karate Dumb! I mean, we haven't even been playing against Uro decks. Like, I think we played against a total of zero Uro decks today. We're down in like the 90 percentages, so like a lot of people aren't playing good decks down here. Oh yeah, the auspicious Sterix deck that we beat was technically an Uro deck, but that like wasn't really an Uro deck, right? It was just like a bad deck that had Uro in it. What are you doing, Declan Scott? Do you think you're funny? You're definitely funny looking. I am currently streaming, yes.
That's why it takes so long to stop working.
Thoughts on this deck? It's been super underwhelming. I think I'm gonna... I've had this one under the high potential section on my website for a little bit now. I think I'm gonna demote it after this set today. It's been really rough. Just a lot of non-games where, and not only non-games like that one where we just got flooded out and died, but also games where just like our opponent's linear deck just runs us over and our interaction isn't really meaningful and doesn't do anything. Definitely feels like it's in a tough spot. Feel like the appeal of playing this archetype over a more linear deck is that you're supposed to occasionally be interactive, and our interaction in the form of Reckless Rage does not feel meaningful enough anymore. It feels like since they banned Winota, and like this deck was super reasonable when Winota and Gruul were top decks in the format, but then they banned Winota and Burning Tree Emissary, and creature removal became a bit worse because they banned the decks that removal was good against. And then, like, we've now, like, these young Pyromancer decks that are popping up. There's a lot of Claim the Firstborn decks in this format now, too. This archetype is very bad against Claim the Firstborn. All the Claim the Firstborn decks are just very, very good against these small creature decks. It's a good name, Declan Scott. Yeah. Yeah, the boys, Jacob has my first name as his middle name, and then Declan has my middle name as his middle name. So they each have one of my names. He's currently doing somersaults at my feet, not that you can tell. Should I show them you? You're kind of silly. Should they see you? So you can say hello. This is a special treat, chat. Normally I save the feet pictures for my OnlyFans. Consider that a free preview. So it's Haley Christie. Christie didn't like her first name as a middle name, so Haley has Christie's middle name as her middle name. So Haley is Haley Lynn. Alright, second red source is great here. Means I can kill the 5/5 at least, which is nice. Oh, actually, instead of double raging this turn, I think I just Soul-Scar, right? For the feet shot. Thanks for the bit, Stevie. I've actually got my F2K shorts on, too. I don't know if the logo came up when I was on camera there. Christy laughed at me for wearing my F2K shorts with my polo, but, you know. Hey, Bib, thanks for the sub gifties. I appreciate that. Good morning. So, remember, with Soul-Scar Mage in play here, this Reckless Rage is going to put minus counters. So we'll shrink-a-dink the demon here. I'm going to go ahead and do this before damage happens so we can pump up the pet. Thanks for the 13 months, Bez. Welcome back. Hello, Declan. Thanks, Bono. I'm a human. I mess up sometimes. It's important to owe up for when you make mistakes. Be an adult capable of experiencing growth. So they have enough cards in here to escape cracks the next turn. So a little scary. That being said, we can probably kill them in the air. Are they dead? This is 3, 4, 5, 6. That's lethal, right? So we could go... Can go Defiant Strike here, Abrade this. This is +3. And then this Abrade is +2. We take a blocker out of the way. Yep. Alright, able to successfully get under them there with appropriate threat density. See how we do on the draw here. One of the tough parts about this specific build of this deck right now is we don't have any good answers to really large things. I guess we technically have Soul-Scar Mage to wear it down over a couple of turns. And I think this is a keep, right? We've got 2 removal spells for Pyromancer, Priest, Dreadhorde Arcanist, and then 2 threats, and we've got all our colors of mana. Yeah, it was a problem in the Auras match too. Let me take a peekaboo. So I've had this archetype up on my website. I don't remember what the sideboard there looks like. I know I have Baffling End in it at some point. Does the one on my site currently have Baffling End? Yeah, there's three Baffling Ends in the sideboard up on my website, which is probably correct. I'm actually really glad they didn't put Path to Exile in this format. I think cards like Path to Exile and Lightning Bolt, I dislike when there's just like objectively correct answers as far as removal goes. Yeah, I think so, Bez. Like, I definitely didn't intend malice in my utilization of it, but it's good to be aware of the fact that people do, and to not use it because of that. It does have lifelink, because why not? It's a cleric, why wouldn't it have lifelink? Those cards will ever come to the format someday. Probably not. I would be surprised. I'm just supposed to pass here. If I go to Defiant Strike, they can kill this in response, then I lose my strike. They know about these two. I think I'm going to go ahead and Abrade this now as bait, because abrading this encourages my opponent to Lurrus and bring it back, and then they don't know about this Reckless Rage. Okay. So, the reason they gave us for leaving some cards out of AHK Remastered was that they were either too good for the format or too hard to program, which is kind of a tough one to swallow considering they didn't give us Flame Tongue Kavu. Thanks for the 5 months, Supaloo. I appreciate the support. Well, they gave that reasoning for Jumpstart, so I'd assume similar reasoning would apply to Amonkhet Remastered. Although I suppose all those cards are coming eventually via Pioneer, so I guess I don't know. Do I Defiant Strike again here? I feel like I'm supposed to. If they have a Heartless Act, I get blown out, but like I don't have protection for the Heartless Act anyways. Reckless Rage. Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless rage. Do 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 pew pew pew. They have a breed of their own. Yeah, it feels pretty bad. And now I don't have a creature to pair with my Reckless Rages, but they also don't have anything else in here to bring back with Lurrus, so it's like awkward. So, someone posted a comment on my YouTube channel, and it actually made a ton of sense to me. And I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I hadn't thought about it in this way before. And I think this would help a lot of other people at home understand some of the decisions Wizards makes too. And the commenter said, Jeff, you keep thinking about making Magic decisions from the point of balancing a game and gameplay, when you need to understand that they're making balancing decisions from the point of balancing loot boxes. And just like hearing it phrased that way was like a light bulb moment, right? Because like it often feels like, well, there's so many smart people that work at Wizards that they obviously get the game design aspect of this. Like their decisions just don't make sense from a game design perspective. But when you realize that's not the game theory they're optimizing for. They're not just optimizing their product for people to play a game. They're optimizing their product for people to purchase loot boxes. And from that perspective specifically, things like not banning Uro make a lot of sense, right? Like it's very easy to be like, well, this is bad game design, but be like, oh, but it's good loot box design. I think I'm holding on to this land for now in case they draw an Uro or Croxa. Yeah, and like I've talked a lot about MTG finance a lot on stream, but like thinking about it not just from the secondary market perspective, but from okay, we're selling loot boxes. It definitely was like it was kind of like that aha moment, like, oh, suddenly all the pieces fall into place and this makes perfect sense. And like on the flip side of that, I see people talking about Runeterra in chat. We were talking about Runeterra hasn't announced their plans for rotation yet. And I feel like there's a chance that Runeterra doesn't even need to have necessarily a rotating format, right? Because like if their goal isn't to sell booster packs, suddenly the incentive to do things like make a rotating format aren't there anymore, right? Legion has ended. Especially with their ability to like balance cards. Like if old cards outshine new cards, you can make new cards better or old cards worse. Is a very real consideration as well. If you're someone that loves card games and you don't mind trying something new, I can't recommend Runeterra enough. It runs well on mobile, has a great IP behind it, etc. Yeah, in fact, we're gonna switch over to it now. If you want to hang on, I'll talk through some of the basics. Yeah, I think I'm gonna downgrade this deck. So I've had this on the, and this is something that's very common. Like, when we have the high potential decks on the website, and for people who haven't been to my site before, I really don't like the way tiers people often show tier lists on the way, what's it called? Things are broken up. So like on my site, if you haven't been there before for the historic decks, I break down the approximate power level of things by proven decks that have results in tournaments, high potential decks we've played on stream that I think could put up results in tournaments but haven't done so yet, and then fan favorites, other decks that feel like they're okay in some spots but they have some bad matchups, etc. And then things like Treasure Flare, which like do this really sweet thing but ultimately are memes. And I think the high potential decks, they either end up putting a result up and get promoted to the proven section, or like this, they end up falling on their face a little bit again, and I demote them to the fan favorite section. So I'm gonna do that really quick here before I forget. Yay, WordPress making things easy. And just like that, a quick refresh is there. So yeah, I think just to highlight why I'm doing that again outside of the games that we played, I think this deck was really well positioned when we were in a world where Gruul, Aggro, and Winota are the big decks. But we've moved past that, and Reckless Rage is no longer as insane of a card against the tier 1 decks. The premier aggro decks in this format are things like Enchantment Aggro, and Reckless Rage just isn't good there. I'd like to address Piemaster Pie's comment, who I just timed out, because Piemaster Pie did something people frequently do, which is put words into my mouth and project their feelings based on what I've said. So we just had a conversation about how Runeterra is approaching things differently because they're not trying to sell loot boxes, and Piemaster Pie made the very arrogant statement projecting onto me that it's delusional to say only one of the big corporations has its main goal of making money. Riot wants your money. Every major corporation wants your money. That's not what I fucking said. Don't put words in my mouth. However, Riot is approaching taking your money in a very different way. Riot is monetizing cosmetics heavily. Their incentive is to get 100 people to give them $1 as opposed to one player giving them $100. So they still want your money. They're just going about getting your money in a different way. Their fundamental monetization plan is different. I'm not an idiot. I understand that all these companies are capitalism and there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, whatever. But I can also acknowledge the fact that the way in which Riot is approaching taking my money is more consumer friendly and better for people spending money than what Wizards is doing, because Wizards is whale hunting and Riot is trying to get lots of customers and get a little bit of money from lots of different customers. And again, just that distinction is important. And I would heavily discourage people from doing what Pi did there, which is assume that I mean something and read between the lines to put words into my mouth. Let's play some Runeterra. I'm enjoying Runeterra. I posted my schedule for the week 2, by the way. If you haven't seen, just to plug my website again for a second, my schedule's always up here. My schedule for next week is, though this week's going to be pretty split on 2 historic decks a day and 2 Runeterra decks a day, with a short day on Tuesday so I can catch up on stuff around the house.